Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I don't know. So I hope you're all doing well, and you have enjoyed our 2 weeks of training sessions. This is the final session of our DC4LT series of webinars, and thank you so much for your vivid participation. I would like to remind you also that our Google Classroom will remain open, and all this material will be enriched as well. So this is an open community of practice, and you are really invited to, to come and join us again. We will organize 2 more training series of webinars, one during the, let's say, early summer probably, and one more in autumn. So we will keep you informed, and we invite you to visit generally our virtual classrooms every now and then to see also updates. I would also like to inform you that the final evaluation form will be sent to you in order to give us a feedback for the whole DC4LT training seminar. So more or less, those were some things that I wanted to say beforehand, before we start. I don't know if you have any questions related to that. Okay, so for those who don't know me, I would like to introduce myself. I am Maria Perifano. I'm an Italian language teacher and a technology-enhanced learning expert, a project manager and a senior researcher at the Smart and Mobile Interactive Lab at the University of Macedonia in Thessaloniki. I'm also an adjunct professor at the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, the Department of Italian Language Studies, and at the Hellenic Open University in TESOL Master Program, teaching topics related to computer-assisted language learning. So as you understand, I have many things to do, especially this period when we are doing everything online. So let me go to the next slide to inform you a little bit about the outline of the session today. As you can see, our session today is divided into 2 main parts and the final conclusion. In the first part, I will define what is digital competence and discuss about language teachers training opportunities. So this will be also something I think that we will have. I would like to have also a discussion between us about what kind of opportunities you have. I will show you some things probably you know, probably not, but it will be nice to discuss also about that. I will continue with the presentation of the desktop research results of exploring previous digital competence frameworks. I have discussed about this a little bit in the introductory session that we have done, but I will present also those frameworks that are related to language teachers. So those that are created and they target language teachers. And finally, I will present the general idea of the DC4LT framework for language teachers. This is a work in progress, so I will just show you some things that we have done so far, and I would like a little bit to discuss what we have done and to work together so you can provide me some feedback. In this phase, that it is the second phase, there will be group work. So nothing really difficult to do, just a discussion and answering one question. In fact, it is only one question. And you will share it. I will ask you to share this on Padlet. I have also prepared a G document if you want to just write down some to brainstorm a little bit. But in any case, I don't have any difficult tasks this time. So you have to be, how can I say, relieved. So I don't know if you have any questions so far. I will just go to my next slide to start with the digital competencies and all that beautiful things that we will discuss today. One introduction of things that I have found in my research, and things that are really, let's say, important to think a little bit is how in this age of digitalization, there is this growing need for teachers to acquire new set of skills and competencies in order to face the new digital challenges that they encounter in their work and in their daily life. In fact, as we said also in the introductory session, digital competency is one of the 8 competencies for lifelong learning needed in the 21st century, according to the Council of Europe. And its development should be perceived within the idea of lifelong learning. So that means that we as teachers, we need to have in mind that we should keep training during our whole life. This is what the whole idea is about. But otherwise, we cannot keep up with all of these changes that there are in daily life. So this is it is highly important to be well trained. And this is a competence, the digital competence is for all teachers very, very important. Also, we have to keep in mind that teaching languages online is different from teaching other subjects online because it entails different skills, such as the creation of highly interactive language environments that could address the language practice needs for language learners. Generally, it is totally different when you teach online a language instead of something else. So we need interactivity. We need to have many, you know that. You have tried during this week so many tools that enhance interactivity. So we need to keep this in mind, that our task is really difficult. So we need to be well trained and we have to be in contact with other colleagues. So communities of practice are also very important because it is very important for us to learn from each other. So how we define, let's go to this slide, finally, how do we define digital competence and digital skills? We see here that generally, before I read these definitions, the concept of digital literacy or competence, it is called also that, is interpreted in various ways. And we will see in policy documents, in academic literature, and let's say, in different European Commission initiatives and communications, that we see different ways to refer to digital literacy. So we have seen digital literacy, digital competence, e-literacy, e-skills, e-competence, ICT skills, basic computer skills, ICT user skills. So many, all new literacies and all that, underline how digital literacy is interconnected with media and information literacy. So here I have just selected some definitions that I thought that are, let's say, good. According to UNESCO, digital literacy comprises a set of basic skills, which include the use and production of digital media, information processing and retrieval, participation in social networks for creation and sharing of knowledge, and a wide range of professional computing skills. So we will see here how all these more or less have, let's say, common base, but also they are, yes, digital literacy, we could say that is interpreted in different ways sometimes. Digital literacy, according to Hall, Likens, and Frasers, refers to the skills, attitudes, and knowledge required by educators to support learning in a digitally rich world. To be digitally literate, educators must be able to utilize technology to enhance and transform classroom practices and to enrich their own professional development and identity. The digitally literate educator will be able to think critically about why, how, and when technology supplements learning and teaching. So I think that those two are good, and they provide, let's say, a good analysis of what digital literacy is. Here I have also found this. I found it also very interesting. It's a review of digital literacy in students between the age of until 16 years old. So according to Newman, let's see what digital literacy is. Newman proposes, as you see here, that digital literacy is the use of critical thinking skills in the context of technology. So according to this, reading digital literacy can be understood as requiring both technical skills and critical thinking skills. So in this diagram, as you see, critical thinking skills are seen as an attribute of information literacy. So in his review, Newman clarifies that the focus is more on thinking rather than technical skills. And in fact, in the review, information literacy is sometimes used as a synonym for digital literacy. So as you see, we have different, let's say, definitions. I also found this that I think also that it is important. You will see now another perspective, let's say. So to this diagram, as we see by Alan Mutka, the internet literacy, ICT literacy, and media literacy and information literacy altogether are partially overlapping with what we call here digital literacy. So all the above, so all these literacies that all these literacies contain a digital component, and in return, digital literacy is enriched by the new means and tools derived from technological surge and convergence. So one last here, and very well known, is this, let's say, definition by Ferrari. So according to Ferrari, digital competence is not something simple, but it is a set of knowledge, skills, attitudes that include abilities, strategies, values, and awareness that are required when using ICT and digital media to perform tasks, solve problems, communicate, manage information, collaborate, create and share content, build knowledge effectively, efficiently, appropriately, critically, creatively, autonomously, flexibly, ethically, reflectively, for work, leisure, participation, learning, socializing, consuming, and empowerment. As you see, the majority of frameworks are based on skills development and on the ability to use a specific set of tools and our application. So all this definition, as we see here, highlights skills that are only part of the learning domains that are included in digital competence, and the ability to use specific tools or applications, just one of the several competence areas that need to be developed by users in order to function in a digital environment. So after all this theoretical background, I don't know if I have helped you a little bit to understand that it is not so easy to define what digital competence is, as it is interpreted by in a different way as we saw here, but more or less there are many things in common in all these definitions. I will just I will show you this one that I have, I think that I have shown this also to the introductory session. Teachers' needs for continuous professional development is really a need, a big need, and it is presented and well justified in many European reports. And I thought in that point to give you some information about what kind of initiatives, let's say, that European Union has done, but also other organizations have done in order to provide training to language teachers regarding digital literacy. So I think that I will show from here. So I don't know what you do when you search for programs, when you want to do a training. I don't know. So I don't know if we have also this question to our questionnaire, Michael and Antigone. I don't know if we have the question, how did you find us? So this is also important to know. It was, I mean, how do you search for training programs? But I will show you some here, also some other possibilities. So one possibility is just to go to search for a MOOC, a massive open online course, in some, let's say, big known platforms as the Class Central, who is aggregator of massive open online courses. So if you go and search for language teachers training on ICT, you will probably find many, let's say, different courses. Most of them are free. Others are, let's say, you need to pay something, but not anything. Let's say they're not expensive, I have to say. So one way is just to go and search for a massive open online course, and usually you get certification also for this. Other initiatives that we have seen is initiatives like our initiative, that it is under in the context of the Erasmus project, Erasmus Plus project. So here, this is another very well-known European project, the Tackle 2, that, as you see here, there are 4 different editions. So for the last 10 years, we see that there is so much need for training for language teachers, but for all teachers as well. This is addressed to all teachers, but there is also specific, there are specific filters where you can find also, let's say, tools that address language teachers' needs. So there are 4 different editions. So that means that more or less in the last 8 years, 9 years, I have worked in the first edition. This is why I have put it here, this one. There is you can find the different tools, toolkits, handbooks, and you can get this kind of training that is in fact self-training. But you have material here that it will be very useful for you. You can explore it. So this is from the last one, the Tackle 4, that addresses this kind of topics. So I will totally recommend also to have a look to this one as well. Other important, let's say, a portal for us, for language teachers, is the European Center of Modern Languages, the Council of Europe. And here you can find also several tools and very, let's say, important material for us. Apart from all these that are related to digital literacy, you can find also many other things like assessment and materials for other, let's say, needs that we have. But here you can also explore this website that is really wonderful and has a big variety of projects that are initiated, that have been initiated by this center, by the ECML Center. Here also, we also recommend absolutely this one, the inventory of, I also recommend it. I use it very, very often. The inventory of ICT tools and open educational resources. This is where you can go and do a search there are also filters where you can find not only a variety of tools, but the most important thing is that you can go and search tools for specific, let's say, needs of your students. And then for each one, there is also an analysis and evaluation of the tool by language teachers and experts. And another important issue is here that feature here is that you can also add your own evaluation or add a tool that you have found and you think that it is really, how can I say, it is good to be added here. So experts, and there is a group of people who are let's say, evaluating also what you are sending to them, and then this is enriched. So this is a wonderful, let's say, outcome of a research project, because it is living. I mean, it didn't stop. We still use it after the end of the project. It is a very useful tool that every language teacher should know and should consult, I think. So another one that I have been also, in this project, I have been also involved. It is a LangMOOC project, and here you can find also, it is a training project as well, and with the team, all the team that we work together, we have produced a LangMOOC toolkit. So it is a handbook, an interactive, let's say, toolkit where you can go and see how you can create your own massive open online course. We have also created our courses for 5 different languages. So you can, they are open. You can find them here, register. This on the top, it is written, register. You can see what kind of, let's say, massive open online courses we have created on the Boot platform. They are open for people who would like to take this kind of courses. So it is really nice. You can check also the toolkit. We have also many deliverables here, many nice, let's say, resources for you to see what are all these massive online courses. So this is also a place where you can do self-training. And this, another one, I think it is the last one I have put here. It is the MOL guide for language training, for language trainers. Again, you can find here many tools and ideas. So I'm just presenting you some ideas of what kind of training you can do. So, and this, it is the last one, the one, this is the portal of Cambridge Assessment English. So here, there is also another, let's say, tool like this one that I recommended before, the one from the ECML. Here you can find, they have also a framework that I will talk about this in a while. And here you can find also a set of tools that are also evaluated. And so you can explore a little bit also this one. It is really well recommended. This one is the one that I'm telling you. So if you go and scroll down, explore this page, you will see here that there is a presentation of different tools. So, and all these are, reviews from colleagues. So this is really nice to see, and you can also add your own views. So have in mind that there are many, let's say, options for language teachers to get this kind of training. And it is wonderful when you explore all these possibilities, and then you are, how can I say, you are an active language teacher who participate in different, let's say, communities of practice and learn from other colleagues. I know that all of you have many things to do, and this is also something that, how can I say, it is difficult for us to have the free time to do all these kind of things. But I think that when you are engaged in discussions and activities that are really, I don't know, interesting, I would say, yes, there is also passion inside of us, I think that, and we find some time to dedicate in these kind of activities. So there was a pre-activity. I don't know who of you had the time to give some feedback. I will open it to see what we have. Okay, at least we have 9 responses. The questions were about if you have searched, in fact, that was the main question, if you have tried to assess your digital skills, if you have found any tools, any ways. Let's see, here we have again, so we see that most of you work in university. You are more, as I see here, English language teachers mostly. Okay. More or less okay. You have worked for 10 years. Yes, a medium. Okay. How often do you use digital technologies? I see that always. That's good, or often. So you like using digital technologies. Very well. You feel quite confident. Very nice. And you have never assessed your digital skills. Okay, that's a good clue in the end. So, okay, so we are in a very good, how can I say, this is good what we are doing, because we are trying to create also the tool, not only the framework, in order to give you the opportunity to assess your digital skills. So we are in a good path, let's say. Okay, and do you know any tools? You said one, Mentep, this one, no, okay. Which do you think is the level of your digital skills? That's good. Intermediate, okay, that is good. You can more or less, okay, do a self-assessment. Okay, you go with, since you are using digital technologies, as you said before, and you like to integrate them in your classroom, okay, you can really, in fact, you can self-assess yourselves. So now in the thematic areas that you would be interesting, so to be trained, I see that what is the winning one? It is the digital assessment and the professional development. Okay, that's really nice. So let's see now what kind of frameworks we have. I don't know if you have any questions, any comments so far, because I talk. Okay, thank you. The problem is with favor, not only the discipline. Okay, Gianfranca, what do you mean? Okay, you mean that you're searching for training, I don't know, there? Okay, probably it was before that. Okay, I'm trying to see the comments here. So let me continue here. Thank you very much for your feedback. I have two slides that I have also shown you to the introductory, let's say, session. Let's see, which are the digital skills that language teachers need to acquire, and how could they self-assess their digital competence? So as we discuss here, you don't know, as you said, you don't know many tools, and you haven't assessed, let's say, your digital skills. What I can tell you is that during the last 2 decades, there has been a continuous debate on defining what digital competence, skills, literacy are, along with a strong effort on developing a framework that could encompass all key elements needed in order to assess the teacher's digital competence successfully. So this is not something new, but let's say researchers have been working on that direction for many years. So I will show you here, there are many frameworks that have been, let's say, created, and in order to define also the descriptors and all the areas which propose various digital literacy, let's say, characteristics. And also there are also assessment tools that we will see that has, in the beginning, we will see, let's say, some frameworks that are addressed to all teachers, and then to specifically for are created for language teachers. In most cases, the proposed frameworks have many differences in structures, the overall perspective is different, but they also have many similarities. So common components, they focus on skills development. So we will see. This one is a well-known framework that, let's say, it is a DigiComp into action, the DigiComp framework. And this one, was, let's say, the first one that was created, and the most well-known, let's say. And this one, the DigiComp for educators, this is the one that is used since 2017 by most educators around the world, and has inspired also many initiatives in exploring this area, and many researchers has also built upon this in order to create new frameworks. So this one classifies the main components of the digital competence in 22 various competencies in 6 basic areas: the professional engagement, digital resources, teaching and learning, assessment, empowering learners, and facilitating the learners' digital competence. This one is built on the previous work of Ferrari, and in general, we can see that there are many other frameworks, as you see here, that are used also by many educators worldwide. Here I have put, I just refer to some of them. The UNESCO ICT competence standards for teachers is very well known, and we have also many others, as you see here. So the idea is that there were the message that I want to pass to you is that there were many efforts done so far, and if you want to explore this area, you can just go and have a look on what is offered out there. But I can tell you that they are very, all of them, they are very good works, and totally, how can I recommend it to explore? So I go here to the digital frameworks for language teachers, and those are really interesting. I have selected 4 that I think that are very good and let's say the most representative according to the research that I have done to this area. But I don't know, probably there will be 2-3 others or some others that I haven't found, but those are very well known. This is why I have selected them. The first one is the Cambridge English Digital Framework that provides guidance to language teachers, giving them information about the digital world, the digital classroom, the digital teacher, as well as useful tips on designing, delivering, and assessing learning. So it is not just theory, but you can find then also activities that you can do. So I think this is really nice. I mean, people have experts have created all these, and it is the product of many years of research. So it is good to go and see what they have done. There is also the tool that it is provided in order to give you the possibility to assess your digital skills. Another one, it is the Equals Framework for Language Teacher Training and Development. This one provides an overview of the main training and experience competencies and professionalism of language teachers at 6 successive, let's say, phases in their development. This is quite, how can I say, rich, too many pages and very analytic, I have to say. And this one is not, it's not a framework that targets exactly to ICT competence. It is one of, it is only one component. In fact, it covers, let's say, a very vast phase of the competencies that a language teacher should have. And one of all these competencies is also the digital competence. So this one, it is really, it has this perspective, a different perspective, but it is really nice to have a look at this one as well. So I continue with the last two. This 2DG, it is called like this. This framework has been created by Filnek. Filnek is an organization that represents all Finnish language centers. It was the product of a 3-year project created after seeing a need in Finnish language centers to assist language teachers in their transition from an analog world to a digital one. It is divided, it proposes, let's say, 3 different stages. The first stage focuses on providing teachers with background knowledge that they need. So they analyze so questions like what is digital literacy, what added value does a digital approach give. So this is what it covers in the first stage, this kind of knowledge. In the second stage, there are 2 parallel frameworks. This is something different in this one because it does not only provide a framework for language teachers, but provides also a framework for students. And it is good. I think it is, yes, a different one, but it's very complete, I think. So there are also many, there are tasks, there are self-evaluation questionnaires for either students and language teachers. So I think it is also very good. And in the last stage, the stage 3, offers more concrete help to teachers by providing a wide range of ready-made resources for use. So this is also good because there are also materials, resources that you can use. And the last one, it is the TESOL Technologies Standards of Framework. And these technology standards focus on how English language teachers, teacher educators, and administrators can and should use technology in and out of the classroom. So these standards build on work done by the National Educational Technology Standards Project in the International Society of Technology in Education, but have a strong focus on pedagogy specific to English language teaching. So since we have also here so many English language teachers, I think this will be also very interesting to you to check, to explore it. I don't know if you have any questions so far. I haven't checked my chat here. Okay. Okay, I will. I refine my definition, but with nice. So I will continue here with okay with what we are doing in our project. So the main aims, let's see here, the main aims that we have with this digital competence for language teacher assessment framework is to identify the key components of digital competence in terms of the knowledge and skills needed to be a digitally competent language teacher. So the knowledge include understanding, and the skills are seen as abilities. So that was, after all these things that we have seen, I think that it was important for us to understand that it is good to, in a way, define first some, let's say, a set of knowledge of things that we need to know and understand before we go to skills, where then we describe what you should to be able to do. So that was the first idea. So now I will tell you that more or less this framework was inspired by all this that you see here, the framework for online language teaching skills, that we have seen in the first day, in the second session, we have presented with my colleagues. And this framework includes 3 columns related to technology, pedagogy, and evaluation. So in fact, it describes that we should have a background and we should know the basics in all these different, let's say, sectors. And it identifies 3 different competence levels: the novice, the proficient, and expert. So we liked a lot also this idea, and we like to introduce it also in our framework. The equals framework that I told you before, that it is very enriched. The common European framework of reference of languages that you know. So we also just borrowed this A1 to C2, that scale. The European framework for the digital competence of educators that I told that is the most famous. And the Cambridge English Digital Framework for Language Teachers, that also gave us some ideas. Regarding, I'm just showing you here the Bloom's revised taxonomy. Probably you know it. Probably, I think you know it. Here, the Bloom's taxonomy explains the subsequent cognitive stages of any learning progress, from remembering and understanding to applying and analyzing, and finally to evaluating and creating. So what is this? What was the idea? The idea is that when we discuss about and we in a way divide the knowledge and the application, the skills, the ability to do something, this is it has this this is the let's say the background of this idea. So inspired by Bloom's taxonomy, which explains these subsequent cognitive stages, we propose also 3 levels of proficiency and progression for language teachers' digital competencies profile. So slowly from theory, as we see here, from these phases to, let's say, as it says here, first we need to understand, then we go to apply more, and finally we go to evaluate and create. So we got inspiration by that. And here we have these 3 levels that we propose, these levels of proficiency progression for language teachers. In the first one, we say that language teachers at this level are competent replicators, so they can assimilate new information and develop basic digital practices. So we just explore the area, we understand some basic things, and we can develop some basic digital practices. In the next level, that is a proficient one, the language teachers at these levels are aware practitioners. So what they can do is that they can apply further and expand and reflect on their digital practices. So it is another way to feel that you are trying to assimilate the information that you gain, the new one. It is another thing to think that you feel confident, you know that you are doing, in fact applying all these things that you have learned, and you apply easier in a way the new knowledge. So like you for now, for example, that you said that you have self-evaluated, you have done your self-evaluation, and you said that you feel like, yes, you are proficient, more or less, intermediate, you said, more or less, this was the level that you have chosen. That means that when you need to explore a new tool, for example, a new pedagogy, it comes easier to you, this knowledge, and then you apply easier that new information. And then the expert, when we talk and we discuss about experts, those language teachers are expert facilitators. So they are in this level that they can pass, in fact, their knowledge. They can develop new practices, and then they can evaluate, and they can do, let's say, an assessment, and they can evaluate new ideas and practices. So in fact, this is the level in which language teachers feel really competent. And in fact, they can also do many more things, like, for example, technically, they can do many more things, meaning that they can organize their own online courses, like the one that I showed you before, the massive open online courses. So they become more familiar with what all this is about. So they can also organize courses, and they can also lead and orientate their other their students, but also other colleagues as well. So it looks like this, our framework, the DC4LT framework for language teachers. So as you see here, we have also a set of 6, we discussed about the 3 levels of proficiency here. And we see here that we have 6 different set of skills, 6 different categories: the tech one, the pedagogy, the assessment, the content, the professional development, and learner support. So for each of these, you see that there is a set of skills that need to be acquired, and there is also a set of background knowledge that should have a language teacher. And the idea is that there are different topics that are covered, and in each, let's say, level, we have a set of, let's say, I can do different things, or I know different things. So I will show you what I mean by that. First of all, I want to show you the topics that we have here. So there are questions related to knowledge and to skills that need to be, let's say, acquired by language teachers for every different, let's say, level. The first one covers this topic, digital tools and devices in general, digital tools and resources that are addressed to language teachers, so to language teaching. So they are specifically, let's say, tools and resources that will facilitate our work as language teachers. Social media and classroom collaboration platforms, so questions related related to knowledge, to theory, and to practice related to social media and classroom collaboration platforms. And the topic of net ticket ethics and security. So all that are under this umbrella, let's say, of technology. I will go to the next slide. I will go back here. I'm guessing that learner support could refer to both students and other teachers. Yes, we could say that, absolutely. So I go to the next one just to show you what I mean by questions, so you have an idea. For example, here for the first one, this is the first level, novice, the first one. So the knowledge, when you say, when we talk about knowledge, what do we mean by that? And what do we mean by abilities? You will see in the next slide. For example, basic knowledge skills are the prerequisites in order to be in this level, is to have basic technological skills. So we have, we can use the basic grades of software, identify features of different software, understanding of constraints and possibilities of different softwares. But we discuss about really basic tools. So what do I have here the description of the knowledge of, for example, a basic range of software and devices that is needed for administration or organizational communication with colleagues and learners. So in other words, what kind of software, for example, you know, and you use basically to manage your time, your tasks, so in your everyday communication at school, with your colleagues, with your students. So do we have this knowledge? Which are the software, for example, or the software that we use, or the tools, generally devices? So basic range of software and devices that is needed for preparing lesson materials and handouts for language teaching, addressing specific linguistic needs. So in order to foster writing, listening. So do you know some software, let's say, in order to prepare your lesson, to prepare your lesson materials? So for example, a PowerPoint where you can, let's say, prepare a PowerPoint presentation, something like this. Information management. Do you know how you can manage all the information that you find when you are exploring, for example, for materials? Do you know how to find, save, store, access, share material at a basic level? So that means that we know, for example, maybe Google Drive, so we can have a drive, or in our drive, in our computer, we can manage all the information that we are gathering for our students. Social media and classroom collaboration platforms, if we know, it is good. And net ticket ethics, safety, privacy, and security issues at the basic level. So some basic things that we need to know in order to be able to have a digital identity and to be able to use our resources. We had also a session for open educational resources and how we manage all these licenses in order to be able to use all this material that we find online in a proper way. And then the skills. So we go now to see, so the first part is what, let's say, we should know, more or less. It is a description of that, theoretically. And then concretely, we can see some skills. For example, ability to work on word processing worksheets, ability to follow menus to operate software, ability to use PowerPoint, or ability to find, explore, use basic digital tools for language learning. And you can see specifically some things like Edmodo language, social media tools, platforms like Edmodo, like Facebook, ability to implement data protection rules like copyright, privacy file sharing, and all that. So more or less, this is the framework. But as far as the tool is regarding tool, then there will be like a set of I can do all this, I can do 1, 2, 3, and you can check what you can do, or I am aware of, and you can say, you can self-assess your knowledge. So that is the idea more or less of how each of these different, let's say, categories of self-assessment will be presented to you. So I go back here because what is important is to understand that when we discuss about digital literacy, we believe that this covers much more than technical skills. So this framework promotes a set of new skills pyramid of 3 levels of difficulties, as we saw, from the most basic to the most advanced, and the knowledge and skills that language teachers need to acquire in order to be able to cope with their professional digital challenges. And this assessment framework, as you see it, proposes a holistic, let's say, skill set perspective, which includes a variety of skills which are, let's say, related not only to the efficient use of digital tools and their integration in the teaching progress, in the teaching process, but also to the right use of tools and methods for assessment, digital content creation, sharing, teachers' professional development, learner support. So the idea is that we don't, when we talk about digital literacy, it is not, it is much more than technical skills. And let's say this one, we think that it would be also, this framework would be also very useful to guide language teachers, but also teachers who would like to support students, or also other colleagues, as Mike said before. So as far as pedagogy is concerned, we have included as topics pedagogical approaches to technology-enhanced learning, pedagogical approaches in digital language learning and teaching. So the first one is, let's say, more, has a more vague area, relates to the approaches generally to technology-enhanced learning. Then we go specifically to those approaches that are targeting language learning and teaching, interactive language learning supported by technology. So how we can use some, let's say, more interactive methodologies, collaborative language learning supported by technology, and autonomous language learning supported by technology. So those are some topics. As far as assessment is concerned, we have digital assessment of language learning skills, digital assessment strategies to monitor, assess language learners' progress, digital assessment strategies to assess language learners' achievements, learning analytics strategies for supporting language learning, and modes of digital feedback. So, in other words, assessment is more, how can I say, it has different, how can I addresses different needs, and it is more complicated now, as we have to deal with platforms. That's why I have put also learning analytics. We get also feedback from the data that we gather in our platforms, in our online language learning platforms, which really give us feedback on how to design better online programs in a second stage. So modes of digital feedback, there are so many different ways to provide feedback. For example, either during the learning process or in summative in the end, formative and let's say summative assessment is really, can be really challenging. And now, for example, we have, as you know, badges. We can enhance generally the motivation of participants in so many ways. So this is a very, how can I say, a very nice category, I would say, to explore the different ways that we could enhance the assessment of our students digitally. Then I go to the content, and as far as content is concerned, is also very important. We have done also this session the other day on open educational resource, how we can search, evaluate, and find digital language content. So where to search when we find some content, what we can do with this content, how we can use and store it, how we can modify, how we can manage it, and how we can use it in the right way. So according to the law, to licenses. So if there are many things that we need to have in mind. So also we ask a set of let's say questions related to this category. Then professional development. So that means that we also need to have in mind that our digital skills are important because we need to organize our work to communicate with our colleagues. We need to see if we know how to collaborate with other colleagues. So that's important. So what kind of, let's say, how we can manage this professional collaboration. So either with the colleagues of our schools or with other colleagues from other parts of the world. So what kind of tools, platforms are out there, and what kind of, let's say, skills do we need to have in order to facilitate all these, let's say, activities. Or how we can assess ourselves, okay, how we can reflect on what we have done in the right way or not. So where we can find all these opportunities for continuous professional development, as I showed to you before. So there are many ways to do that. And also one other thing that it is important, and it is widely, let's say, analyzed in research as well, that has to do with the level of language that language teachers should have. So since they are not, let's say, mother tongues, they should keep up with let's say that they should have this opportunity to talk with native speakers. So many times it is good for us to be involved in project with native speakers in order to keep up with the best proficiency, the proficiency of language that we should have. So all that means that we know what tools to use, and we need to know where to search and how to manage all these activities. And the last one is the learner support. So this is also important because, as I said, now I know that more or less there are our teachers who support us, who support many of the teachers regarding technology. But for us, you know, also research shows that when teachers feel generally that are confident with their digital skills, they give also confidence to students. So it is good to see, to have this knowledge, to be able to manage, to guide learners, develop and manage their digital identity, and to facilitate their work. This is why I was saying the other day that it is not only us to know how to use all these licenses in order to use all this material that it is out there, that will save saves time for our work. And it's really important to be able to search for good work without spending I don't know how much time to create from scratch all the time, all the material that we have to prepare for our classes. But it's also important to show to our learners, to our students, how to use all these licenses as well, because they also create so many create materials as well, and PowerPoint presentations, very nice games and other, let's say, artifacts. So it is important also that they know how to share all these materials online with other students and other people. So this more or less, those were, let's say, the 6 categories that we had in mind that would be included in this framework, and those were the topics. So I would like to ask you more or less to discuss a little bit about what we have done and what I have, let's say, presented to you now. I have here created a Padlet and also a set of Google Docs where, let's say, there are only, one moment, I will open this one. There are only 6 questions, and each one has to do with one of its categories. So there are questions that more or less, it's a question if I can go with the first one, and more or less the same applies to the others. Having a well-rounded set of tech skills and related knowledge is important for language teachers. Do you agree with the topics proposed in the first category, technology? Which of them do you think is the most important topic for you? And would you add any other topics? So for that purpose, I have here, one moment to go to my presentation. I have here created this one, so I will share this with you. They're also in the Google Classroom, but in order not to make you search, I have created this one. So in each of these groups, I have just added, in order to have in mind what were those topics. So you can see here that under the technology, in this first column, the first category that we have proposed those 4 topics: digital tools and devices in general, resource tools that target language teaching, and all these things that I have, that we have. So this is the question, and here you can add some points or something, you know, you can prepare something in order to add it to the Padlet. So more or less I have, you know, one question or a set of questions related to each one of the categories. So you could just, I will give you some time, like 15 minutes to discuss a little bit, and to, if you have any other topic to, I don't know, to add or to say something regarding what we have done, it will be very helpful for us. And then we can, yes, we can finally wrap up what we have done and say goodbye after that. So I would like to, okay, just to give you the opportunity to discuss with your colleagues in, let's say, in 6 different rooms. You can just add any, I don't know, any topics that you probably would like to add, or any ideas if you have regarding what we have here. So you can choose the group in which you are. So the question will be more or less the questions that is linked to the group that you have, and I will come and join you in your rooms.
And I think we concentrated quite a lot on netiquette, ethics, and security, because Despina is a primary school teacher, and a lot of my experience is also in schools, more secondary than primary, but both, as well as adults. And D acquires a massive importance in that sector. I think most of the people in this group are university, where perhaps one would think it was of a lower importance. So this led us to thoughts about technology and its relationship with social emotional learning.
Okay.
Further down, we made a note about social media, the need for firewalls, there'll be education authority guidelines. There's always an issue about logins, the privacy of younger students. For some apps, actually, of course, there's whether or not they're even allowed a login. There's an age limit on some apps, including Facebook, obviously.
Absolutely.
There are rules about bring your own device within schools, which leads to a more general consideration of the availability and access to technology and the existing student and parent competence, which we felt could almost be a separate issue, because the usage of the technology and all the lovely things we would like to do with it really depend on whether it's there at all.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
I mean, again, this is probably, this is a slightly more school perspective. What else did we say down here? I commented that probably in a utopia, that B would be regarded as the most important, the digital tools and resources in language teaching, because it's most specific to our work, to our objectives in the classroom.
Yes. Well, thank you very, very much for your feedback. Good afternoon, Bursu. Okay, thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike. Would you like would you like to also tell us what you discussed in the second group?
I can say a few words, but I was there with Ailem. Okay. And she was mostly commenting on the suggested topics, and maybe she can summarize. There are our notes here, and then I was thinking of additional topics, and I can summarize that part.
So I'm reading in the Padlet, yes, okay.
Then maybe I can summarize both parts.
Okay.
What we did, we looked at the topics, and the first comment, I just simply give the topics A, B, C, D, E. And from the first glance, they looked a bit too similar, but then we discovered that A is a very general pedagogical approaches in technology and learning. B is much more specific pedagogical approaches in digital language learning. And then topics C, D, and E were all subcategories or a part of B. And we thought the topics overlap a little bit too much, and it makes it difficult to evaluate. And so if you evaluate DE, for example, very differently, you have now no idea how to evaluate B anymore. Should you follow the highest, the lowest, or the average?
Okay.
And in terms of additional topics, we thought maybe we can split or specify theoretical knowledge about the pedagogical approaches and versus practical skills on implementing these approaches in different settings, for example, smaller groups, larger groups, or in different modes like in online or in the classroom. Like collaborative or interactive learning categories can be implemented very differently, both pedagogically and technologically, and depending on all other possible settings like number of students or the age group of students or topic of the class and so on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your feedback. It's really valuable. So we go on to the third one, the third group. I don't know if anyone is here from this group. We should add some rubrics, they say, for assessing the level of skills achieved by our students. So the third one is about assessment. So it is great to have actual workshops creating our own assessment schemes using the tools the presenters have shown us. Yes, the topics are relevant. I agree to having explored them all. C and D are my favorites from the webinar series. I particularly like the gamification for assessment. Okay, very well. The group 4, I don't know if Bursu has just left. They said goodbye. So anyone else working with Bursu?
I'm here. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
A couple of words. Let me first get to this my own section. Yes, so we agree with all the topics proposed. Actually, they're very neatly written. Well, we thought that, while discussing the first item is an umbrella item. I mean, it covers a lot of things, and then we believe that actually in that respect we agree with the other colleagues. Ethics is the most important one of all these items, because without having a sense of ethics, I think it wouldn't be possible to do anything with the digital content. And we have one suggestion. We can include another category, assessing digital language content, because the previous items is related to, how to find the content, and then, some procedural issues like management and how to share the content. And I think, some emphasis might be also put on the assessment of this content. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very, very much for your really valuable feedback. And we continue with the next group. The number 5, I don't know, we have here Uliana. Uliana said she's leaving. Really? Oh no, Lailani was. We agree with the suggested topics.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Here.
I can shortly comment that. Sorry. Yeah, we really agree with suggested topics, but frankly speaking, they're all mostly about the same thing, about collaboration, about communication, organization, and I didn't really get the idea why you separated CPD and professional. So you inserted CPD into professional development, but I think it's completely the same. Professional development and continuous professional development, the same topic. So maybe there should be some distinguish, but just now I don't know how to distinguish these things. But for us, most important, of course, community, to creation of a community that can assist, support, not just, you know, from time. For example, we have some webinars and that's it. But when you listen to you or just do some activities together in the breakout rooms, it's absolutely clear. But when you go to your classroom, a lot of questions arise. So we need some community that can help us anytime, maybe during our complete work. And that is why maybe creation of local communities, or some, I don't know how to express it, maybe.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Something like this.
Yes,
it would be very important and supportive for us. But of course, without personal development, we cannot move on. So.
Thank you very much. Yes, I totally agree with you for the constant support. So it is not only every now and then to do a webinar, as you said, or a training course, but we need the support of our colleagues anytime. So yes, this is why we need to be part of community of practices, or even, as you said, local communities of practices. So thank you very much.
Maria, sorry, because we were discussing with Juliana.
Ciao,
and Juliana kindly,
ciao,
Maria. And Juliana kindly wrote it. We were discussing quite a lot about that, the community of practice, because the actual community of practices, which the platforms where we get into usually are platforms in which we can share products, not real get a development in, I mean, becoming more stronger in something and getting some knowledge. It's just, usually we can find, I don't know, Cambridge teachers or the Oxford platform, but these are just for sharing products, and they are not community of practices which can really develop our professionality.
Thank you, Gianfranca. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, Mike.
I was just thinking on this point, it's a question of having access to an expert, really, isn't it? Within a small, not an expert who delivers a webinar once and there are 500 attendees, but for every, if you like, cell of, say, a dozen teachers to be able to access one expert.
I don't know if you know, for example, there is a group that it is called Webheads.
Yes, I know Webheads. Van Stevens. Yeah.
Yes. So I was just watching today. I was reading some emails that I was receiving because they are organizing a conference these days. So I am following this group for 11, 12 years. They are sharing so many useful things. So if I have any questions, for example, about anything, I can ask. So I know that these people, you know, they are working in this area, and many of them are really experts. So I feel confident that someone will, you know, respond to me and someone can help me. So, and it is not something that just, you know, it was just for 1 month. It is like a decade and more. So I think that this kind of communities also that are very well known, and you know, they have all these members that are very, very let's say that are experts, in fact, yes, can help you. So you can also do something like this, search for this kind of communities.
Yes, I'm just putting them in the the chat box because you reminded me, because there's learning together is
yes, learning together, and I have learned together.
Yeah, with Franz Stevens and Graham
yes.
Stanley and such like. And
they are wonderful people, and they're very generous, I could
yes.
say.
They're our friends.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But,
so, and we have the last one.
Yeah.
Anyone here telling us anything about learner support? All topics important. A is not very clear. Other two general. D, C, and D are very important.
Sorry,
okay,
I'm
Chris.
here. Sorry, I muted myself.
Okay.
I cannot see. Where am I now? Okay.
So what do you remember from the discussion?
No, I remember. It's okay. I wanted to write more, but we had, it was closing, so I hurried. Basically, I didn't actually copy paste the.
It's okay. No worries. No worries. I will find it.
No, it's yeah. So I just wanted to say that we found that I was with Anna, the two of us, and there was the set of topics that were all important, but we found that I remember from memory, it was not very clear. It was rather too general, and sometimes that causes confusion. Some of the others here in the group said that it's like it could be an umbrella, or it's a general one that can that links to the other topics. But we found that in the list, we found D, C, and E are very important, and D, C, and E, I cannot read them. I just remember they had to do with fostering, helping learners.
I'm showing it to you.
Okay.
So I just opened it. Facilitate learners to develop ICT for practicing language skills. This was the first one.
Yeah, okay. So we thought that, that's, they need to develop ICT skills to practice, skills, language, and so on. And the other, so we, if the others can, why can't I read it? It's so small. Can the others read it from there? Basically, I just want to say that we found that, yes, we need to actually help them to edit, find material, share, create. And also to actually learn to interact with others, but also they should also learn to collaborate. And these are skills that they really, they can't be taught. We have to show them how. So the teacher needs to be sort of like, we really need to be experts. We really need to actually know enough, have the knowledge, the skills, and the pedagogy to be able to get learners to that stage, to be able to fully support them. So we thought that we cannot really think about an extra one, but we just think that maybe A, which was the one about helping students to develop ICT for practicing language. I don't know, just the wording was not very clear to us. I don't know if that could actually be more specific. Okay, that's what we talked about.
Wonderful, wonderful. So thank you all for your valuable feedback. I would like to thank you all for your contribution all these, let's say, 2 weeks. You were wonderful, really. We hope that we helped you a little bit, at least, to find some orientation in this area. But we are here as a group of people who are working in this area, and we hope that this is let's say, an open community of practice. So if you want anything, you can just also, send us messages on the stream, and we can have also to keep this kind of communication. We will, as I told you in the beginning, we will deliver also to other, let's say, to other seminars, and more people will also join the community. So it would be really nice to have you here, and we will enrich all these materials that we have already So don't, because in a conversation that I had the other day, one colleague said, I was trying to you know, to get all this info and to write down all the things that I wanted to have and to save information, because I thought that this will be deleted after the webinar. It will not be deleted, it will be open to you. So thank you very, very much for your contribution. I don't know if you have, I don't know, any other comments for us. Congratulations, thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Now you can, you know, take some time to get some rest after so much work those 2 weeks. So thank you very much. We will keep our contact, and we will also invite you, as I told you, to give us a feedback, and we will also provide you with the certifications for your attendance. So
long.
Yes, I'm trying to see also to see your feedback here. Well, there are so many things that I would like to show you, and all the time I'm trying to be, you know, more concise and to try to find only 2 things that, because we don't have so much time. But anyway, I think that in the next training session we will also try to make also some changes. We will see, in order to support you even more. So I would like to say goodbye to all of you. Take care, and we keep in touch. Thank you so much for everything.